On Friday, the 13th of November, 2015, Paris, France, witnessed one of the most horrifying terrorist attacks in its history. Multiple coordinated attacks were carried out by terrorists associated with the Islamic State. The attackers targeted a concert hall, a soccer stadium, restaurants, and a busy shopping area, resulting in a devastating loss of life. The Bataclan concert hall was one of the most harrowing scenes, where hostages were held, and dozens of people were killed during a rock concert. The series of attacks in Paris left 130 people dead and hundreds more injured. It sent shockwaves around the world and prompted an outpouring of support for the people of France. In the aftermath of the November 2015 Paris attacks, France and the international community responded with grief, unity, and a commitment to combating terrorism. Here are some of the key developments that followed. In the immediate aftermath, France declared a state of emergency, giving the government enhanced powers to address security threats. It allowed for increased police and military presence in the streets and the ability to conduct searches and raids without warrants. The attacks prompted a surge of support and solidarity from countries around the world. Monuments and landmarks worldwide were illuminated in the colors of the French flag, and international leaders expressed their condolences and commitment to fighting terrorism. The attacks spurred discussions on improving intelligence sharing and cooperation among international security agencies to combat the threat of terrorism. There was a renewed focus on monitoring and apprehending individuals associated with extremist groups. Security measures at public venues, airports, and transportation hubs were heightened to prevent future attacks. Bag checks, metal detectors, and surveillance were intensified to enhance public safety. The attacks left a deep impact on the social and cultural fabric of France. It led to debates about multiculturalism, national identity, and the integration of immigrant communities. The people of Paris and France, as well as those affected by the attacks, demonstrated remarkable resilience and unity. Vigils, memorials, and acts of solidarity marked the path toward healing and recovery. The November 2015 Paris attacks serve as a reminder of the need for international cooperation and a concerted effort to address the root causes of terrorism while maintaining the values of freedom and unity that terrorists seek to undermine. On Friday, the 13th of October, 1972, a plane crash occurred in the Andes Mountains. Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 was carrying 45 people, including members of a Uruguayan rugby team. The plane crashed into the mountains due to poor weather conditions. What makes this incident particularly horrific is the story of survival that followed. The survivors faced extreme cold, hunger, and isolation. To survive, they resorted to cannibalism, consuming the flesh of the deceased passengers. They were stranded for 72 days before being rescued. The survivors faced countless challenges during those 72 days in the unforgiving Andes. They had little food and barely any supplies. As days turned into weeks, their hope of rescue began to fade, and the grim reality of their situation set in. To endure the harsh conditions, they melted snow for drinking water and used whatever materials they could salvage from the wreckage to create makeshift shelters. They also made the painful decision to consume the flesh of those who had not survived the crash. The moral dilemma of resorting to cannibalism weighed heavily on the survivors. They grappled with their actions, struggling to reconcile the desire to live with the ethical consequences of their choices. It was a dark and terrifying ordeal that tested the limits of human endurance and the will to survive. Finally, on December 20, 1972, after more than 2 months of unimaginable hardship, 2 of the survivors managed to make a treacherous journey through the mountains to find help. A rescue mission was launched, and the remaining survivors were brought to safety. The survivors' ordeal did not end with their rescue. They returned to a world that struggled to understand the choices they had made to stay alive. The media attention and public scrutiny were intense, and they faced both criticism and compassion from people around the globe. Many survivors experienced deep trauma and guilt for their actions during those fateful 72 days. Some sought therapy and support to cope with the emotional aftermath, while others found solace in the bonds they had formed during their shared struggle for survival. In the years that followed, the survivors went on to lead various lives. Some became advocates for mental health and trauma awareness, sharing their story to help others who had faced similarly harrowing situations. Their story of survival, resilience, and the moral dilemmas they confronted remains a powerful testament to the lengths people will go to in order to survive. This real incident on Friday the 13th serves as a chilling reminder of the unpredictability of life and the strength of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. On Friday the 13th of October, 1989, the world witnessed one of the deadliest stock market crashes in history. The incident is often referred to as the Friday the 13th mini-crash. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped by a staggering 6.91%, resulting in a loss of around $190 billion in market value in just a matter of hours. Investors were in a state of panic as they watched stock prices plummet, and trading systems struggled to keep up with the rapid and massive sell-off. This event sent shockwaves through financial markets globally, and it had a profound impact on the economy, leading to a broader recession. The aftermath of the Friday the 13th mini-crash had far-reaching consequences in the financial world. It raised questions about the fragility of the stock market and the role of automated trading systems. As a result, there were significant changes in regulations and the way financial markets operated to prevent such extreme fluctuations. Investors, both large and small, had to reevaluate their strategies and risk management practices in light of this shocking event. Many individuals suffered substantial losses, and trust in financial markets was severely shaken. This incident also underscored the superstitions and psychological factors that can affect financial markets. The belief in Black Friday or Friday the 13th being an unlucky day has, over time, led some traders and investors to make decisions based on superstition rather than rational analysis. In the years following the Friday the 13th mini-crash, lessons were learned about the importance of diversification, risk management, and a thorough understanding of market dynamics. It remains a stark example of how global events and superstitions can intersect to create financial havoc, emphasizing the need for vigilance and preparedness in the world of finance. On Friday the 13th of August, 1971, a gruesome and chilling crime took place in the United Kingdom. This incident is often referred to as the Highland House murders. It involved the mass murder of 3 members of a family in their remote home in the Scottish Highlands. 3 members of the Black family, a mother, her daughter, and her son, were brutally murdered in their home. Their bodies were discovered days later, and the crime shocked the nation. The killer was never apprehended, and the case remains one of the most baffling and haunting unsolved murders in Scotland's history. The Highland House murders left a lasting scar on the Scottish community and law enforcement. Despite extensive investigations and numerous leads, the case remained unsolved, and the killer's identity continued to elude authorities. Here are some of the long-term consequences and aspects of this chilling incident. The brutal and unsolved nature of the Highland House murders instilled fear in the local community. Residents were left with a lingering sense of unease and vulnerability, not knowing if the killer might strike again. Law enforcement agencies continued to investigate the case for years, but without significant breakthroughs. It remained an open and unsolved cold case that haunted detectives and the victims' surviving family members. Over the years, various theories and speculations emerged about the possible identity of the killer. Amateur sleuths and true crime enthusiasts discussed the case, trying to piece together clues and motives, but the mystery persisted. The case highlighted the need for improved forensic techniques and procedures in criminal investigations. It contributed to advancements in forensic science and the handling of cold cases. The Highland House murders became one of the enduring unsolved mysteries that captured the public's imagination and interest, similar to other notorious cases like the Black Dahlia or Jack the Ripper. It served as a stark reminder of the unsettling mysteries that sometimes remain hidden in the shadows. The Highland House murders remain an eerie and haunting chapter in the annals of crime and unsolved mysteries, leaving a profound impact on the community and a sense of dread surrounding the date, Friday the 13th, when this horrifying incident occurred.